Welcome to iPen Podcast, Interviews and Conversations. Here we bring entrepreneurs and their business to their audience and communities as well as ours. We welcome and connect with them to share who they are and what they do. Authors, entrepreneurs, we extend the invitation to promote your business here on our podcast and in iPen Magazine. Your article, your story, your promotions, how you can connect with others, a new audience, a quarterly magazine presented online for all to view and subscribe to. For articles, ads, and subscriptions, please contact ipendesigns@gmail.com. For your viewing, you can see past articles, past interviews on www.nanetteMbuchanan.com. Welcome to the show. Good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Nanette Buchanan, and this is iPen Vision's podcast, interviews and conversations. Myself and Felice Reeves, we come to you every Monday night at 6:30 with all kind of, wow, I don't even know what to describe it with. And I'm supposed to be an author too. We come to you with all kind of people. We come to you with people that are entrepreneurs, business people. We come to you with authors. We come to you to connect, make a network. And that's what we're trying to do here. Make a community of knowledge and make a community that tells you to keep on going, keep pushing. You cannot stop pushing once you get started. If it's in you, your purpose is going to make it come out. So mentioning the magazine is out. If you check my Facebook page, you'll see that pretty cover. I don't know. I tried to put it up earlier to show everybody how it looked. And it's a beauty. We have our latest edition is out. And guess what? This time, it's not just digital. I did print it this time to see what a print run would look like. So if you guys want to order one, hey, or two, or three, or four, let me know. Just let them. Over the stage, as you well know, my partner in crime, she approved all of that stuff that I just did. So we're running good. We're running good. Felice, come on to the stage, sweetie. How are you? How are you doing?
Congratulations. Let me give you a round of applause. And my approval was more or less of encouraging. You did good, Nanette. You did good. You did very good. So I can't
Yes. We did good. So just to explain to the audience, what happens is, if you choose to be in the magazine after being on the podcast, if you choose to be in the magazine, you can be a part of the magazine. And then I do distribute it digitally. People subscribe to the page on my website. I distribute it digitally. But the authors that are, or the entrepreneurs that are in the magazine, decide that they want to buy the magazine, I then will print it digitally. It is not just printed. I will print it. I'm sorry, not digitally. It will be printed, but it is not just printed every quarter. That depends on the orders that come in. So don't say to me, "Well, you didn't print it the last time." No, because no one ordered it. If I do get orders, then I will print. So this time, we got orders, so we did print copies. So if you guys want printed copies, just contact me and let me know, and I will send you printed copies. Tonight, we have a new guest. He has not been here before.
Yay.
And we want to welcome him and tell him we want to talk to him. He's not only an author type like the folks, but we love authors. We love promoting them and sharing them because it's so different, to have authors. So we want to make sure that we have what we need for the authors, and making sure that they're okay. So what we want to do is bring him to the stage. Tonight's guest is author Harold Phifer. Welcome to the stage, sir.
Yay!
How are you? Good evening.
I'm good, thank you. Glad to be here, Miss Buchanan, Ms. Reed. I'm glad to be here. Thanks
How
for
are
bringing
you,
me on.
sir?
I'm good.
and
It's
and
very,
we're going to
very
start the
formal,
show
but
the
we're
way that
gonna
we
break him
normally
out
start the
of. You
show,
see,
which
his
which
zipper is
is
all the way up to the top. We're gonna make him.
yeah, he's going to have to be yeah, he we're going to make him
We gonna
break
break
down. We're
this
going to
out.
break him down.
He's being all formal.
Yeah, we're going to break him down. We're going to break him down. We're going to make him
All
feel
right.
comfortable.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Okay.
that's what I meant
we
to
want to
say. That's
make him
what
feel that yeah, we're gonna make him feel comfortable. We
I
want to make sure that you get the feeling that you're being loved here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry
meant. And
about it.
celebrate it.
So
That's what you're here for. We're here to
with that, with
celebrate.
that, what
Mm-hmm.
we want to do is we want to ask you because we don't do it, and you're not the only guest that it happens to. It happens to everyone. We do
Mm-hmm.
not introduce you because you can do it better. So will you tell us who is Harold Pfeiffer?
Oh wow. I am Harold Phifer. I've written a couple of books. My latest one is My Bully, My Aunt, and Her Final Gift.
Mm,
Uh, Available on Amazon.com,
mhm,
or you can go to my website, riseandread.com, and you can buy
Okay.
it on cheaper on my website.
mhm.
However, got a discount going on Amazon. You can get it ebook for 99 cents.
Oh,
But
Okay. But
yeah,
who
I'm
are
glad to
you
be
other
here.
than that writer? Yeah,
Who
who
am
are
I?
you other than that writer?
Okay, I am from a small town in Mississippi called Columbus, Mississippi.
okay.
Um, I went there, went to Mississippi
Okay.
State University, graduate there, then went on to Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi.
Mhm,
After that, I started my career as an air traffic controller. Did
mhm.
that for 23 years,
Mm.
and kind of kind of got tired of it, and kind of got in some trouble, and decided
Oh,
to retire.
oh,
And
we like trouble. Come on with it.
they didn't like
Oh,
trouble
I
too
meant,
well. They didn't like
I'm
Harold too
sorry, you
well.
guys.
It was time to get out of Dodge. And I became an international contractor, and I started in Iraq, went to Afghanistan.
Mhm,
Then from Afghanistan, I went to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Now back in Iraq, as of now, I'm in Iraq. And but while I was in Afghanistan, is when I
Hmm.
started writing,
mm.
and that was about 8 years ago, and I kind of haven't quit since.
Nice, nice, nice,
Oh,
nice.
okay. Okay.
Ooh, now I got
So
all kinds of questions.
if yeah, the thing about it is all of that international traveling and all of that interesting traveling. Um, I understand exactly what you mean when you say, well, you become someone different when you go
Yes.
to different places, and you become someone different when you're away from the norm that you've been brought
Right.
up with. How much difference was it going the lifestyle? Not talking about your book or anything like that, just in general, the lifestyle of leaving the United States and then going afar, even though you had a job and everything, how was the
Yeah.
lifestyle kind of different? I mean, the food, the living conditions, and just life. How was life different?
Well, the work around the job itself, I guess, kind of like being a summer camp. It's like
Hmm.
like a long, long summer camp. Really was kind of like,
Mm,
uh,
hmm.
no problem with food, a lot of food. Not most of them not great, but you're not gonna complain too much.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They decent places. Sleep, gym, like kind of like summer camp, except
Okay.
except not always that safe. That's the difference.
Right, right, right. Now, were you
Yeah.
always on the military base during the time of your employment? You were always on the military base, assigned to a base?
Mhm,
No, no. I started out. I worked in Memphis, Tennessee.
mhm,
I did that for 14 years. Then I
mhm,
went to Houston, Texas for about 6, and then I went to Monroe, Louisiana for like another 3 years.
mm,
And at kind of waiting when I could retire at
Mm-hmm.
that point, and retired, and then like, hey, I'm gonna do this differently, and that's when I became an international contractor,
Mm-hmm.
and got to travel more,
Mm-hmm.
see how the military do it. It's
Yeah.
totally different, but
Mhm.
I always felt, well, I'm not slow. I can pick it up, and I did. You
Mhm.
Well, I'm
Um,
Mhm.
curious. I'm curious about the traffic controller. What got you on that track? And then after 23 years, I mean, I know you have some stories um,
yeah.
in doing that. So, what got you started on the road to air traffic controlling?
I started in college, without completely telling my age, but I I was
We
looking for
won't
a summer
believe it
job.
if you tell us.
Uh,
I said we won't believe it if you tell us.
pretty old. But, I
That's
was um I was at Jackson State, and I was trying to find a job to intern, and believe it or not, it was right at the turn of people were getting into um, system analysts, computer technology, stuff like that.
mm,
So I was looking for a job in
Mhm.
that field this summer, and this guy, black guy out of Atlanta, just hit me out of the blue. Hey, you want to become an air traffic controller? I didn't know what it was. I was like, I just
right.
need a job for the summer.
Right. No.
Take this
Absolutely.
test, pass it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I took the test, and true enough, I got the job.
Wow.
So went to
Mhm.
Memphis summer and start making money and kind of being around the controller. You start to feel like I can do this. And they make more money than the field I was going to go in. So I
Sure.
like that's even more incentive to do it. You know,
Right.
so that's what got me in it.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. So 23 years,
Mhm.
that's quite a stretch. That's a lifetime for most careers is that.
Right.
So, I again, the responsibility of that job sounds daunting. Um, and, I'm sure capable people, do it all the time, and maybe it is like duck off the back or water off a duck's back. But what was the experience like for you? Because I see in your bio you said something you were unfulfilled, and of course that's allowed because no matter what you do, but it just that's to me a huge responsibility each and every time you're in the control booth or whatever.
Wow. I'll share this with you.
I see that
um,
paper coming down.
yeah, get the wheels turning. One of the things I fought my dad was a school principal,
Mhm,
and I didn't get to know him till I was 21.
mhm,
So
Mhm.
now I'm like 23
mhm,
and really don't, really ain't got a relationship, really don't know him, but kind of
sure,
we're trying kind of thing. Um, One of the things I fought him for because I mean he was different, close minded,
mhm,
say close minded, very guard his money, or didn't know if I'm after his money or whatever.
mhm,
Um, I was always the guy that I could take care of myself, or that always was my intention.
mhm,
But what I really needed was advice. I didn't need
mhm,
money. I needed
right,
advice
mhm,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
nobody in my family graduate high school.
mm,
Nobody in my
Mhm.
family had a car. Nobody in my family, been anywhere. I needed advice,
mhm,
and so what I throw all that out to say, I needed some real advice how to deal with racism,
mhm,
and
Mm.
I didn't
Mhm.
get it. Okay,
mm,
so you got this young kid, brash, walk into this racist environment. It was rough. It was rough on
Mhm.
the homeboy,
yeah,
and I didn't know how to. I did okay, but I didn't know how to play the game very well.
mhm,
Mm.
You know?
yeah,
and I did okay, but I took a lot of beatings, mentally, took a lot of beatings,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and that had a lot to do with me leaving the U.S.
Mm,
It got where like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't do this anymore.
yeah.
Yeah.
Y- Yeah, that I'm gonna just throw this out there because right now I'm reading this book called Nomad Capitalist,
Hmm.
and it is about finding a place to live where you're best served. You
Hmm.
know, yes, it could be
Mhm.
outside of the United States, but it could be within the United States. And
Right.
so living abroad, so really opening your mind to where are there places in the world instead of being loyal to, the life that you grew up in. Just
Hmm.
because you don't know anything, it's just really about exploring those options for you. And it takes an open mindset, um, to even consider something like that.
Right.
Because
Now
My
your decision to leave the United States, your decision to leave the United States, and we're going to get into, all of the other elements that played into that, mind
okay.
change. But as
Okay.
far as the job was concerned, and
Hmm.
I'm just listening in the background, I know the difficulties that I had going through government and being a woman.
Same. Okay.
I know going through government and being a woman, and then going from knowing how the government operated to operating programs that were outreach programs that the government operated, and then going from that into law enforcement. My
Okay.
transition was constantly up and down and up and down, and almost swallowing my tongue more than being able to speak my tongue.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I could only imagine, with the education you had to have to
hmm
be a traffic controller then,
hmm
how many
Yeah.
times you had to swallow your tongue
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
just to be able to just have a good day at work. How
mm,
Right.
many times you had to go through that, because there's not many air traffic controllers, especially during that era, that were
Right.
of
You,
our race. So
you know.
I can imagine that. But when you left the United States and you
Mhm.
went into the military, you still were an air traffic controller?
Mhm. Right. And it was a culture shock because most of the places I went were predominantly had predominantly black controllers.
wow.
So culture shock.
What?
Like,
Mm, really?
yeah.
Wow.
And when I was in the
Wow.
U.S., yeah, when I was in the U.S., we talking the place I worked in Memphis. They call
Mhm.
it they call it a center, which is it's a very big area. I mean, they cover Memphis, St. Louis, Little Rock, whole big area. Big. Okay. So we talking about 450 employees that work, round the clock. So, not 400 at the same time, but around the clock, 450
Mhm.
that work. So out of that 450, you probably had eight blacks, okay, out of
Right.
450
Yeah.
individuals.
Wow. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So it was extremely white. And
Right.
Wow.
like I talked about my first book, Surviving Chaos,
Mhm.
and in it I talked about my first interview for the job.
Mhm.
And so I meet this guy. I was in Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, so went to the airport to interview at the airport.
Mhm.
So this guy was filling me out, and I didn't really know it. I'm sitting there like, he asked me, the first thing he asked me, not asked me, he started giving examples of how the people are different, maybe than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So, I'm young. I don't know, I'm about 22,
Uh-huh.
23. And I'm like, sure, go ahead. Tell me the story. He go, well, okay. He's out at this party,
Mhm.
and he said that, I think black folk at a black folk party, whatever.
Yeah.
and he go, "Can I have some more of those inward toes?"
Oh wow.
Mhm.
And I was like, being green, I had never heard the term.
Mm.
And what they are, they're Brazil nuts.
Yeah.
The real
Yeah.
big.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And he said all his life he called them
Wow.
inward
Uh
toes.
huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, okay, I'm still a little wet behind the
Yeah, you
ears,
still not,
like,
yeah, you still not getting it.
right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So he tells me another story. He said some of the people they call people what do you call it? Coon ass.
Mm. Mhm.
And
Wow.
Mhm.
I had never heard that one. But if you from Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
You know
actually
what it
they were,
is. Right. Right.
but actually they're referring to redneck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Mhm.
Yeah.
he said they toss that word around a lot. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I had never heard it.
Right.
And so I'm saying, then the next one he told me, and I saw it in the book. Then the
Oh
next
wow.
one he told me about, I've heard the military say, what is it, FNG,
Mm.
Mhm.
and they call it F new guy,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mhm.
it, he said it started out as F inward guy,
Oh wow.
Mm.
and so the military said a lot though.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's the FNG,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
but it was originally the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there like, holy God, what am I getting myself into?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And and then when I get there, it wasn't that much different,
Mhm. Well, then
Mhm.
how did you respond? I mean, what did your takeaway, and how did you navigate through this new world? That was totally different from yours. How did you adapt?
I had some I had very few bad moments,
Mhm.
but see, y'all got me talking now. But
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
Warned
like
you.
That's
just
what
like
we do.
you're doing good. But just like today, when
Hmm.
you get a Karen
Hmm.
that say they get exposed,
Right.
they'll
Mhm.
try to flip it that,
Hmm.
"Oh, you're the one being racist."
Sure.
So I
Mhm.
had, like, maybe 2 moments like that where I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt they were being racist,
Hmm.
but trying to expose it, they tried to flip it on me,
Right. Right.
you know?
So in your childhood, and you said you were born and raised in Mississippi.
Right, right.
Okay, so how in the world? I mean, because were you not exposed to that type of thing even growing up? Because we hear, the perception of Mississippi is just, what the media says. So,
Where
so
where where you guys in Philadelphia?
I'm sorry.
You all in Philadelphia?
No, I'm in Dallas, Texas. She's in North Carolina.
Oh, I live
But
in
I'm
Dallas.
from
Live in
but I'm from yeah, I'm from New Jersey. So
New
I
Jersey.
understand what she's saying because
Yeah.
we get I mean, even now, I have friends that are in Jersey now that ask me, how are you managing down there?
Hmm.
Because they just figure that in the South, you're treated a
Mm,
little different. And I've always been told from my family, even because we had relatives that were in the South and we also had
Hmm.
relatives in the North. So whenever we traveled South, we had the understanding that's
Hmm.
their world.
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
You're
right,
and
going
especially,
into their world for the summer.
yeah.
You
right.
know, be
Yeah.
mindful that you're in their world.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the little sayings that they would say or the little things that they would say, we could kind
Mhm.
of laugh off and keep going. But I want to say this and not be offensive to anybody. We were
Mhm.
children.
Hmm.
Right.
You
Sure.
know what I mean?
Well
As
Yeah.
an
well,
adult, some of the
Hmm.
things that were said to me as a child would not swing over with me
Hmm.
now
Yeah.
as an adult.
right.
You're not gonna stand there and talk about, coons and
Hmm.
and boy and all of that other stuff as an adult.
Yeah.
Whereas as a child, I
Mm-hmm.
was taught to, you just stay in a child's place.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Don't worry
Right.
about that stuff. Go down there, have a good time, and come on home.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand totally what she's saying. You're going into an adult world, and you got this animate, you know, thing staring you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
How did you hold yourself in composure
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
until
mean,
you got ready to leave? You were like, "This is too much. I'm out of here."
Mm-hmm.
But up until that point, how were you able to maintain
Mm-hmm.
your professionalism and your composure?
Or did he, Nanette? Because he said there was some trouble. But anyways, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. But I'll be honest, luck, grace of
Mm,
God,
mhm, mhm.
because I was so poor, and I bet you can ask anybody, say, like Chicago, Cabrini Green. If
Oh yeah.
that is all your only environment
Right.
you
Mm-hmm.
don't really
Mhm,
know about the racism outside of
Right.
Cabrini Green.
Right.
Oh,
mhm,
Exactly.
this is my world. This is where I stay.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm boxed in.
Right.
Probably school, probably not too far from there. You know,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
so
Yeah, I get
your
that.
world, yeah, your world is mainly people who are like you.
Yeah. Yes.
mhm,
So I had that going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the school's integrated, and just once again, it wasn't that bad. I mean, of course we had fights, and there
Sure.
was
mhm,
the movie Roots and
mhm,
everything, but
Yeah.
that kind of changed the
Yeah.
dynamic a little bit. But I still say it was just luck. I had one situation that once again, I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I was a short cook. My mom got me a job as a short cook at
Mm-hmm.
this restaurant downtown Columbus,
Mm-hmm.
and all they play was country music. So I was learning country music.
Yeah.
I'm about 12. Okay,
Oh.
so
Mm.
I'm a short cook. You want some eggs? I make that for you. You want
Uh-huh.
biscuit? I make that for you. Right. So
Yeah.
that's all I did mainly. Right, and
Mm-hmm.
swept,
mhm,
bus table, that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So had been there. I don't know. Let's say 6, 8 months or more. And I thought everybody liked me. They'd give me money, put in the juice box, play a country
Uh-huh.
song. I knew, the numbers, I get used to it.
Yeah.
So this guy come in, I think it was maybe a Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
I had never seen this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me his order. I went, made the time to get it back to him. Then he called me the N word.
Ooh.
And
mhm.
I froze.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think a white person had ever, I mean, we would sit in the hood.
Right.
We
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
mess with
right.
each other, but
Yeah.
I don't think a white person had ever called me that. Even though
Uh-huh.
our schools were integrated, no white person ever
Mhm,
called me that. I
mhm,
froze. And I just stood there and stared at him and stared at him. And the owner came over to get me.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of chastised, called the guy back and, like say, Bubba, you shouldn't say such thing or you're wrong. What bothered me is they were on a first name basis.
Uh. Yeah.
mm, mhm,
And I went back, in the kitchen, cried because
Mm-hmm.
I had never been shocked like that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
mhm,
And a part of me died that day because up
Mm-hmm.
until then, I was always on time. I
Right.
did my job well.
Mm-hmm.
After that
mhm,
happened, I
Yeah.
was late, would call in sick,
Yeah.
and eventually I got fired. And it was the best thing that could have happened
Sure.
because
Uh-huh.
right, right.
I was not the same.
And
Yeah.
the thing about it is, I think that we all have that shock eventually. I think each of us, if you've lived black, I
Mm-hmm.
say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
If you've lived black, you've
Mm-hmm.
had that moment where you found out I really don't fit in.
Right.
Right. But
I'm really not a part of their system.
Mm-hmm.
Even
but this,
though I play a part in their system, I'm really not a part of their system,
Mm-hmm.
what
you
what
know.
got me was what you said, Miss Buchanan. I was sitting there thinking, because he looked to be about 28,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, why would you pick on a kid?
Yeah.
The
Right,
Yeah.
whole
right,
time, you
right,
know, yeah, a
Right.
little of the word, but it's more of I'm a kid, and I
right,
wasn't.
Right.
I
right,
didn't look 15, 12,
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
looked, I was 12 and looked like I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh
was
mm-hmm,
a
wow.
kid. Yeah,
mm-hmm,
Oh wow.
mm-hmm.
and that bothered me. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've been in fights
But that
before.
just shows how your mentality was, because at
Mm-hmm.
10 you recognized something that he wasn't able to recognize as an adult.
Right,
Well.
right.
You were able to decipher, hey, this is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And he had no recollection of the wrong in it. It didn't mean anything to him. It was a stab. He threw it at you. It didn't
right,
matter who he threw it at or how he threw it at.
Mm-hmm.
You
right.
know,
Yeah.
we come across these little moments, these little
Mm-hmm.
spark plugs in our life that jolt us. And those jolts, like you said, it was enough of a jolt for you to remember it
Mm-hmm.
all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you're not going to forget. um I like I said, having experiences, growing up in the north and then going south.
Mm-hmm.
You see things in the south and you be like, nah, that ain't gonna happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I, I ain't about that. I'm not
Yeah.
doing that. But
Mm-hmm.
growing up in the north, going to school and graduating, over 50 years ago from high school, we had the same issues, but it was more silent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a
Mm-hmm.
whisper as opposed
I,
to a voice. You
yeah,
know, there were things that were done, and you really had to say, "Did they do that? Did they?"
Mm-hmm.
You really had to look at it a whole different way because it wasn't so blatant,
Mm-hmm.
but it still was done. It
Yeah.
still
right.
was done.
Mm-hmm.
So I applaud you for being 10 years old and being able to recognize it,
Mm-hmm.
being able to decipher that, hey, wait a minute,
Yeah,
there's
Mm-hmm.
something wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
right,
And
right.
and
And
that's a part of your life lessons that you have. So
Mm-hmm.
now
mhm,
growing up, you're going
Right.
through these lessons
Mm-hmm.
that you're taught and everything. But you tapped on a major lesson. We've heard about your broad lessons, and we've heard about your chaos and
Mm-hmm.
all of that, surviving chaos and all of that. But you had some other things that had to be untangled,
right.
that came up while you were away, that you
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
may not have thought about,
Mm-hmm.
prior to leaving, but
Mm-hmm.
they untangled in the midst of you being away.
right.
And that was the cause for your second book, which threw me for a loop. I read the back of that book and I was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is not every person's outcry at
Mm-hmm.
some point.
Yeah.
Could you just
you talk,
explain
you about my
that,
bully?
that
Oh,
transition that you had to go through
Mm-hmm.
to realize that, hey, I really need to get to the root of this?
yeah, you talk about my bully?
Yeah, you're a bully. You're a
Okay.
bully.
Yeah. Ooh, let's hear about it.
um,
Yeah, you're a
yeah,
bully.
Mm-hmm.
it was pure God. You hate to go there, but it was pure colorism.
Mm.
And
Mm,
my brother was light skinned, a handsome little guy,
Mm-hmm.
very outgoing, and I was outgoing, but I wasn't the looker, and
mm-hmm,
I couldn't dance like, and he could dance, I could, um,
So yeah.
mm-hmm,
and my aunt made a huge difference, and
Mm.
my mom was schizophrenic, so and the baby, and allegedly my aunt raised most of her siblings, and
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm,
especially my mom. So
Mm-hmm.
my mom wouldn't buck her, to
Yeah.
save her life. So whatever my aunt wanted, she basically got, except my older brother. My
mm-hmm,
mom wouldn't let go, wouldn't let her become his sole guardian or parent or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, okay.
So she took it on herself to to be like a mom to him,
Mhm.
and she was so ingrained. The rest of us could. She made sure the rest of us didn't measure up to him. To
Mm-hmm.
Jerry.
Oh wow.
And
Mhm.
so Jerry had to be front and center. He had to be top dog. He had to be, you know, spoken about. We had to, shut up and let Jerry shine.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was a pretty sharp kid, and
Mhm.
Jerry was pretty lackluster.
Right. Well, because he
Mm-hmm.
had his looks to fall on, right? So he was all about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it was painful,
Yeah.
you know. Matter of fact, had they pushed me, I could have won spelling bees. I could have done a lot. I had a hell of a memory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, I was teaching myself to play. My aunt had an organ and a piano, and I was teaching myself to play them.
Oh wow.
And because it wasn't Jerry, she made me stop. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I get the book out,
Yeah.
reading the notes, learn the notes, and
Yeah.
find them on the piano, and got to
That's
be good at it.
yeah.
And nope, she made me stop. Um,
Mm.
so calling her my bully, that hurt because I was. It wasn't noise; it was rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. I was progressing. Felt something I wanted to do, and
Mm.
then once we eventually broke away to my mom's house, of course, my mom couldn't afford those kind of instruments.
Sure.
So all
Right.
that just went away.
Mhm.
And
Oh.
yeah, so it was tough. It was tough. Even like I said, um, I was also anemic, or I used to have
Mhm.
nosebleed.
Mm.
And when my aunt took me to the hospital, she told me, I'm what, 8, 9, that I
Mhm.
owe her. So I gotta find a way to pay her back for taking me
Yeah.
to the hospital. You know,
Oh.
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
so it was always something with her.
Sure.
So
Wow.
writing the book was tough, but I had to do it in a way. I'm, you know, you don't want to be too mean spirit because she's an old lady, she's passed on. But I am kind of funny, so I made sure to
Mm-hmm.
infuse as much humor as I could to lighten me being rough on a old
Yeah.
deceased one. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My heart goes out to you really because, um, sometimes we grow up in something that is horribly abusive, and we're told, our emotions surrounding that are not validated.
Mhm.
Um, and so because they're not, we take on that we can't validate our own emotions
Mm-hmm.
regarding that situation. Um, so yeah, so that's tough for me. Um, I For me as my grandmother, and she was horribly abusive, but to one of my older brothers, she worshipped the ground he walked on, and so in that, it's a hard thing. But then all your life, you're not allowed to validate your emotions, and you know who God made you to be. You just know it.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but certain people in the world will, you know, convention,
Mm-hmm.
especially at such a young age. That's the thing about it, is that from a young age you're warring with your identity,
Mhm.
um, and I feel that in my age there's still a war going on with that, um, and I applaud you for the book, even though I'm saddened that you even have to tamper your truth because it's
Yeah.
your truth, um, for the sake of someone else. So you're still having to put them ahead of your own needs.
Right.
You
Mhm.
know that. So
But
Yeah.
the thing
so thank
about it,
you
the
for writing the
thing,
book, though. But thank you for that, and thank you for the strength of that.
mhm,
And again, I even feel as the race that we are, we would never turn around and do to the you know people
Right.
that's been done to us, right? We would never
Right.
do that. We would, because again, we don't want to be treated that way, and so we wouldn't want to treat someone the way we've been treated,
mhm.
right? And
Right.
so again, I just want to say kudos to you for the book. Um,
Yes.
but again, I'm saddened that, again, you have to protect those that were not willing to protect you at all.
Right.
But not
Yeah.
only
My.
that, untangling your emotions,
Hmm.
being able to untangle your emotions. When I thought of it and read a little bit into it and thought about different situations, like you say, your own situation and things that you want to carry or you don't want to carry.
Mhm.
Sometimes, as a child, you're carrying the burden of that type of emotional binding,
Hmm.
Right.
and you don't even realize you're carrying it.
Hmm.
You don't even realize that you have it, and that's the part that I was asking you. When you realized that you needed to release this, when
Hmm.
you realized that you needed to let go of some of
Mhm.
the things that had been a part of your background or a part of your upbringing or a part of your, you can't do it but he can, or whatever that was. When did that come across, and how did you handle that when it first impacted you?
Um. It was when she passed, or before she passed. Um. She always was reluctant to give me information like where her life insurance, whatever, because Jerry was alcoholic, not responsible.
Oh,
Anybody, and she
wow.
knew if anybody was going to be, it would be me.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
even at that stage of her life, she didn't want me to be.
The one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't want me
Mm-hmm.
to seem like I was
Right.
handling things. You know,
Mhm.
um, I can't think of the right word, but
Right.
being the guy that really
Hmm.
taking care, really, I
Yeah.
guess in some of the word, looking good,
Yeah.
whereas she knew Jerry would be looking less than.
Right,
So
Right.
right.
even in her last
Mhm.
year, she held back, held back. So
Yeah.
when she passed, we couldn't find the life insurance. We couldn't find the policy, and
Mm, mm, mm.
I'm sure I'm sure, but Kenny, you know a little bit about the South.
Hmm.
Um, they used to sell
Policies.
insurance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What
Right at
Hmm.
the
burial?
end.
It's
Right at
called
the
burial
end.
insurance,
Yeah.
That's
right?
right, burial insurance, right.
So they may come around and collect maybe
Yeah.
5 cent, 10 cent a
Yeah.
week or whatever. It
Uh-huh.
was like
Mhm.
almost nothing. But by the
Right.
time a relative passed, they did have enough to pay off their funeral, even though they
Hmm.
probably
Mhm.
paid for their funeral 4 or 5 times, at
Oh,
least
yeah.
Mhm.
2 times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
But I knew she had that, and she was working for a funeral home. Has
Oh.
spent many years.
Interesting.
So they all wanted me to ante up the money for her funeral,
Oh.
Mm.
and and I'm sitting there like,
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
here's my
got to be
chance,
Yeah.
here's
kidding.
my
Yeah, you
chance to
got
give
to
it
be
back.
kidding.
Yeah.
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 I'm
Yeah, you
sitting
got to be kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, at all those years here.
Right. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
But
Mhm.
Wow.
And see,
anyway,
like I said, the trauma and the chaos and the childhood struggles that you go through when you push to the side and you're not given the same equal
but
understanding or the
right,
same emotional
Yeah.
influence, especially from an elder,
Yeah.
right,
especially
right,
from an elder. It's different when it's a sibling. It's I mean
Mhm.
it's just as
it is,
bad when it's a
Yeah.
sibling.
Yeah.
It's just as bad when it's someone close to your cousin or whatever.
Mhm.
But when it's someone that you look up to,
Mm-hmm.
that
That's
is
supposed
supposed,
to
like you
be
said, your
responsible for
aunt
you.
took care of your mother. Your aunt took care of, the other children. Your aunt took care of everybody, but she had this one that she wanted to put on a pedestal. I
Right.
to and I I hold it to my heart. I really do, because I'm an only child. So my thing was, I couldn't understand things that were going on because I was the only one you
Mm-hmm.
know but when you have a family of five, or you have a family of six, or you have, even two. I had two,
Mm-hmm.
but I never ever ever in my mind, and I guess because I had trauma and chaos and different things too, I never in my mind wanted them to feel like I was putting one above the other.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If my daughter needed shoes for school,
Mm-hmm.
I would buy him a comic book, just to
Yeah.
say that
Yeah.
she got her
Right.
shoes and he got a
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
comic book. You know
Yeah.
what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Right.
If he needed something, I'd get her some barrettes. It wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be on the same
Yeah.
level, but she
Mm-hmm.
had a bag and he
Yeah.
had a bag.
Yeah.
Right.
I never
Right.
wanted them to feel that one was getting more
Yeah.
attention. Or now, did it work? I have no
Mhm.
idea, because
Mhm.
Yeah.
if it didn't work, they didn't tell me. But the
Yeah.
Right.
thing about it is, I, as a mother, just wanted to make sure that they felt that there was an equal love
Mm-hmm.
between the two of them.
Yeah.
So I've always been
Mm-hmm.
confused about the trauma that we pass on.
Right.
Yeah.
The trauma that we say, hey, it's okay for you to do it to your child because my mother did it to
Mm-hmm.
me,
Right.
It,
or her mother did
mhm.
it to her. How
Yeah.
Right.
many generations are we going to pass on this type of chaotic behavior where we're up and down with kids?
Right.
Right.
Kids are the same, do the same stuff. They might
Yeah.
do it at different times, but they do
Mm-hmm.
the
Right.
same stuff.
Well,
They you
the
know
sad part about this whole scenario, in most of the scenarios that are similar to this, is that Harold, you were truly affected by it in a negative way.
Right.
You found a way to overcome that and to shoulder through. But the effects of your brother, for all of that, he, and
yeah, he didn't turn out to be the shining
well,
star.
and yeah, and not, but and not
Yeah.
just that he didn't, but he was damaged by that. You know,
Yes.
he was damaged by it. He still is damaged by
Mm-hmm.
it, what it sounds like, and so that's really tragic as well. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what you
Mm-hmm.
meant for good was really evil on all fronts, all fronts. So and it really rarely happens that when that happens, the child that is doted upon, put upon a pedestal, and everything is able to live by that, right?
Right. No,
It, yeah,
it affected him tremendously.
yeah,
He he expected everything to be given. He became that person,
yeah,
and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and
yeah, and
it
yeah, and so she didn't
yeah,
serve him well either with the
no.
favoritism. It's just was not as it should be, right? So yeah, that's sad to me as well. For all the hurt and the chaos and the trauma that you went through, he too has suffered a lot as well.
Yeah,
Now
and he did.
let me
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I mean it was to the extent it was embarrassing. It was to the extent he would tell me whenever I pissed him off, he would tell me, "You don't know who I am," and I
Mm-hmm.
would laugh at him, knowing because I'm like, "Yes, I do," but
Well,
he
well,
had been programmed that he's this
right.
god, you
Right,
know,
Right,
right,
right.
right.
Well, and you
and
know what? And that's the truth of it. Really, he's probably was saying to himself, "You don't know who I am," because he wasn't allowed to be who he was. Because being placed upon this pedestal and being placed upon,
Mm-hmm.
all of. all of the hopes and the dreams and the dysfunction was placed upon him too. So not only did
Mhm.
you not know who he was truly, his true self, but he didn't either. So that's
Right.
he was
Yeah, it was.
Now,
given this mantle to
right, to
put
go
upon.
on.
Right.
Now, let me ask you this.
Hmm.
So, in a way, you had the stability of the home because, of course, your aunt was there to take care of everyone. And we
Mhm.
Right.
all know, we all know that saying, in black homes, what happens behind this door
Right.
does not go outside. So to everybody else, it looked like you had stability while your boat was rocking on the
Right.
inside. Things
Right.
things were not stable at all.
Mhm.
Right.
But was there anything that you and your siblings, other than the doted one, could
Hmm.
do to keep the stability on a medium where you could, and obviously it did help you function to a certain point where you still excelled in school, you still were able to get by and everything. What
Right.
type of stability did you have to do? How did you balance that?
Huh. It's embarrassing. Um, she kind of treated us like indentured servant.
Yeah.
Mm,
So
Yeah.
as long as I was doing, you know, cutting the lawn,
Mhm.
washing the car,
Mhm.
uh, tilting the garden,
Mhm.
mm-hmm,
things were good.
Yeah.
You know,
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
but if you missed a beat, then
Right. Right.
yeah.
There were
So
consequences.
mm-hmm,
yeah, as long as I was doing those things,
Mhm.
and of course studying my Bible,
Mhm.
you know, I was
mm-hmm,
good.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And nowhere in the Bible does it say anything about treating people the way that they was treating them. Nowhere in the
It's like
Bible.
the opposite, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I'm just okay. So we've talked about this, and I know that this is the foundation. So your
Mhm.
bio says to me, um, this thing. Okay, so when you left, being an air traffic controller, and you become an international contractor, right? And I'm laughing only because I can see the connection right there. It says,
Okay.
but you were also, which also exposed you to dangers, right? That you were unprepared for, right? and
Right.
and and for me, I look at some of the things I exposed myself, and it's based upon that trauma, unbeknownst to me, right? You're like, oh well, I'm putting myself in there because this is kind of how I've lived my life anyway. So you don't know how to do it, but you have innately that this ability to navigate it. So
Hmm.
tell us about some of the dangers that you were unprepared for, if you
Ooh, wow.
Oh, and especially the danger where you immediately said, I got to write this book.
can.
That danger,
Okay.
that one right there.
Okay.
That danger where it said, I got to let some of this go.
Oh, I'm still reading this, but go ahead.
Okay. Um, we lived. Let's see. Can I? Should I tell this?
Yeah, yeah, you should. You
Tell
should.
it, tell it.
I think I can. I wrote about it, so I guess I can tell it.
Well, yeah.
So
Yes.
we lived off the military base,
Mhm.
which exposed us to the possibility of getting hit by the Taliban.
Oh,
Mm,
Um,
mhm.
so every day, on the drive to work,
mhm.
you know, I was very aware that something could go wrong,
Sure.
and so I was hiding it, but I was scared, but I was hiding it.
Hmm.
You didn't see me, bite my fingernails or nothing,
Right, right,
Right,
you
right.
know.
right.
But I don't know. But the people I work with, military people, they
Yeah.
were
Mm-hmm.
kind they were kind of used to it. Okay,
Oh,
me
Mm-hmm.
wow.
being the odd man out, I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I'm not too used to this, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, but I still had that sense. I had that sense of danger.
Yeah.
Kind of weird. So I come home this day and back to camp or off the military base.
Mhm.
Something didn't feel right. Something felt out of place.
Mhm.
And I went into the our cafeteria, and right after I got about 5 steps in, the place blew up. I mean,
Mm,
it felt like the building left the ground
Oh wow.
mm,
and tossed me about 6, 8 feet over by this desk, behind this counter. And so, I scurried behind it, don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
And the Taliban had a knack. They would blow a place up. And I mean, when I say suicide bombers, we mean
Wow.
suicide bombers. They blow the place up even if they did it, blew themselves up.
Mhm.
And then the ones that are alive would come and shoot until somebody killed them.
Right.
mm,
So after the place blew up, I'm thinking, okay, a couple of guys can run in here and do the shooting until somebody come shoot them, right?
Mhm.
mhm,
So everybody ran out. I didn't. I'm like, I
Yeah.
might be running to
Right.
a you know
mhm,
Yeah. Yeah.
into the slaughter, right?
Right.
So I kind of wait, and I realize when everybody come, I'm here by myself.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I start creeping out, looking around corners, trying to listen,
Mhm.
and trying to get what we call a safe room. Safe room is the metal room they lock you in.
mhm.
And I'm trying to get there, and I had to go upstairs to get to it. So every step I'm listening. I don't want to walk in on, on somebody's shooting or somebody,
Mhm.
you know, just
Yeah.
trying to be smart about it.
Right.
So anyway, eventually I did. Eventually I made it in, but it's not over. Our camp had been exposed, blown up.
Right,
Anybody,
right,
anybody can come in and do what they
right.
Yeah.
need to do, right?
Yeah.
So I'm praying, God, please help me, let me.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
I didn't show it, but that's what was going on, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Mhm,
so, so we all outside trying to help find out who's injured and
Mhm.
rescue this guy who was trapped under a bunch of stuff. So I'm still sitting there like any minute somebody gonna shoot me dead, right?
Yeah.
And I realized I've always wanted to write a book about my life,
Mhm.
and I'm sitting there like I might not get out of here, and I never
mm,
got a chance to
mhm,
write that book.
Yeah.
And
mhm.
I made a vow with God. Then, if you let me out of here,
Yeah.
I'll
I'll write
write it.
that book.
Well,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the point about writing the book is that it shows so many others to have the strength to write the book.
Mm.
Yeah,
There's
that's
so
Mm.
right.
many people that are going through the mental anguish and
Mhm.
mental unstableness,
Yeah.
Yeah,
imbalance,
I still
Mhm.
that
got
they
trouble.
don't
Yeah,
understand that, when you rock the boat a little bit, you're
Mhm.
scared you're going to tip over, so you stop
Mhm.
rocking. But that
Right.
doesn't mean that you're not in trouble.
Mhm.
We had a saying, I was a sergeant in corrections behind the wall,
okay,
and all male facility. And
Yeah.
okay.
they brought the gangs in and everything. And they used to say, well, are you afraid? Be afraid.
Mhm.
Mm.
And I used to laugh and say,
Mhm.
shoot, you're afraid not to be afraid. you know,
Yes,
you got
Yeah.
to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
because if you're not afraid, then
Mhm.
you become more of a danger.
Yeah.
okay.
If I'm afraid,
Right.
now I will react. I will,
Yeah. And
it's
you're
worse
looking
for you
out
not
and
to
you're.
have a reaction to
Mhm.
being afraid. I gotta be afraid.
Mhm.
Right.
I'm going in here every day, take a
Mhm.
deep breath on the way in, take a deep breath on the way
Mhm.
out,
Yeah.
Right.
because you never know what you're going to go into and what you're going to face.
Mhm.
But when you carry that extra fear,
Mhm.
that when you do go home,
Mhm.
when you are around family and you're
Mhm.
supposed to have that comfort and support,
Mhm.
Mhm.
that you're not getting that support.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Now you have an internal, everything is churning and turning and doing
Mhm.
all kind of things, and that's the stability that you need. you
Yeah.
you know you want to make sure that you have that.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful that you wrote the book. I'm grateful that there's people that need to read it, because the thing about it is when you start looking at some of the things that people go through
Mhm.
Mhm.
behind the front door,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, behind the cookouts and the
Mhm.
holidays and the dressing up and looking good, and you say, oh,
Yeah.
there go that Watson family, they sure look good. And you don't know that
Yeah.
Miss Watson is beating up Mr. Watson. Mr.
Yeah.
Watson at home getting abused, and everybody
Mhm.
assumes that the women are getting abused. But
Right.
Mr. Watson is allowing
Mhm.
this because in his lifetime he had been abused as a child. you
Yeah.
know you
That's
never
right.
know. So I'm so grateful that you exposed not only what went on with you, so that you could heal and you can have
Mhm.
some stability, but so that it could help others, so
Right.
that it can help others be that open, even if they don't write a book.
Right.
Mhm.
Everybody's not apt to write a book, but at
Right.
least
Right.
if they can sit down and write in a journal, if they
Mhm.
could sit down and write in a memoir, write something to get it out,
Right.
to
Mhm.
say it in the open, because sometimes those whispers aren't heard, you
Yeah.
know, those
Mhm.
whispers for help and those cries for help. But you said
Right.
something, and I'm going back to it. When I saw it, I said, oh my God, is that a
Okay.
line for everybody that has lived?
Mhm.
Because it's just, all right, I'm going to say this before I say that. My son has a saying that a friend of his told him, and he said, you can pick your family,
Mhm.
but you can't pick your relatives.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a little different.
Your relatives are given to you.
Mhm.
You don't get a
Right.
chance to pick relatives.
Mhm.
How
Yeah.
many times in life do we go along and we meet somebody and we have a friendship with them and we call them sister, or you call them
Mhm.
Right.
brother,
Yeah.
or you
Mhm.
call them uncle,
Yeah.
or you call them
Yeah.
Yeah.
auntie?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
you even might call them mom. You might call them
Mhm.
pop,
Yeah.
because the
Right.
relationship has developed to that point.
Right.
Right.
You're picking your family.
Yeah. I love
You're
that.
picking your family. But
Mhm.
now
Right.
you got that relative
Mhm.
who you can't even talk to.
Mhm.
That's not who you picked.
Yeah.
So
Right.
sometimes you have to recognize that,
Mhm.
because Mr. Harold here said, I'm holding it because Felice, if anybody writes it on a note later on, I'm gonna tell him that was his words. I don't know. I don't know why he said it, but I stand behind it wholeheartedly.
Okay, let's
Okay.
hear it.
Sometimes the death of a loved one can fix your pain.
Woo!
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Okay.
And,
So,
and
so you know that song strumming my pain with his fingers. What I don't know what
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
one.
Killing me softly with his
Yes,
song.
yes, that
Yes.
one, that one,
Yeah.
that one. Sir, I need you to
Hmm.
get out my head and out my life.
Right, 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 right.
And
Okay.
here's why I say that because the grandmother, she died on my fourth birthday.
Uh-huh.
So, but here's the thing: it can fix the pain, but you must be responsible for dealing with the hurt
Mhm.
Hmm.
because the pain may not no longer be there from the beatings, but the
Mhm.
hurt you carry until
Right.
you
Hmm.
can address
And
it.
I don't know, Felice, if it and Harold, you tell me what you think. I don't know if it's so much like you said, it fixes the pain,
Hmm.
because now you no longer are in pain. You no
Hmm.
longer can get the pain from that person.
Hmm.
Right.
And
No,
like you
yeah.
said, the hurt is still deep. You
Mhm.
still have that scar.
Hmm.
You still have that memory. You
And that
still
might
have
not even be a scar yet,
you yeah,
right?
you
It's
still have
that
that
wound
memory.
that keeps stays
Yeah, it's
open,
that
right? Yeah,
wound,
yeah,
and every
yeah.
now and then somebody might touch it,
Right.
and you got to ouch, because you
Yeah,
know that you've been through it, or
yeah,
you've had that before.
yeah.
But I think one of the things that I think that comes from it is it's not so much of them fixing the pain or the death of a loved one. I had to learn that some people are dead to you before they die.
Mm. Well,
Yeah, that we went
yeah.
through that too.
I had to learn that in accepting who I am, I had to not accept who they wanted me to be.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right.
Right,
I had to kill off their
Very
thoughts.
good.
I had to
Yeah.
kill off their words. I had to
Yeah.
kill off
Mhm.
their actions because if I
Mhm.
took all of that in,
Right.
I couldn't be who God purposed me to be
Absolutely.
because all of that was the negative that was trying to
Mhm.
stop me from being who I was going to be.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
for you, Harold, your brother was doing whatever. You were so much different that
Mhm.
there's a
Right.
distinct difference between you. Well, the only
Mhm.
other way that I can make sure that you don't try to compare yourself to your brother
Mhm.
is for me to do these things.
Mhm.
And by doing these things, you knew that there was no comparison.
Mhm.
She
Right.
didn't like you the way she liked him. She didn't like
Mhm.
others the way she liked him. She didn't do
Mhm.
this. But in the response to that,
Mhm.
he becomes the person that's lesser
Mhm.
Right.
because he's hurt, because
Mhm.
he's been not given the total love that he should have got, just like you
Mhm.
didn't get the total love that you should have got. He didn't
Mhm.
get the love from you and your siblings that he should have got because
Right.
of the simple fact that he was distant because of what she had done, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Wow.
that's the hurt and everything else that's the residual
Mhm.
after they're gone. You
Mhm.
still got to go around and fix the stuff that they broke
Mhm.
because just like you're broken, your siblings are broken, your
Mhm.
cousins are broken, other people are broken, and they looking at you go, you know, you act just like your aunt so, and you like, oh God.
But I'm really curious, Harold. What does this statement mean to you? Because you pinned it, and so what does it mean to you?
um, there's a lot of she was just bad. Um,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
was.
Well, I can
Um,
relate.
I was about 5 when my mother was a schizophrenic, but she had some sane moments, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She was gonna buy a car,
Mhm.
and she made the mistake of, getting my aunt to go with her to check it out.
Um,
And, see, like, a nice car,
mhm.
you know, I'm already thinking, claiming the shotgun seat and all that,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So, not on my aunt didn't allow her to buy the car. She took some of the money she had saved up
Um,
to buy the car. So, at that point, my mom was so dejected, she went and bought a bicycle,
mhm.
and she became the bicycle lady, crazy lady on the bicycle.
Oh, that's it.
And I wonder how much that event
Yeah.
affected
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because I grew up
Yeah.
with a mom that was
Yeah.
deranged,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
my whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember about 5
Mm-hmm.
when she went to buy that car.
Mm-hmm.
I remember,
And you know what the sadness
Oh.
is? The sadness in all of it is that when they're gone, I remember sitting, thinking about death and thinking about everything, and I was sitting in front of my mother's coffin, and I'm an only child, so I'm the one that did the arrangements, and all I kept thinking was, no more. I don't have to do this anymore. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
Mhm,
to do this anymore. I just kept saying it over and over and over to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't have to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And no one knew of the pretense that I had been doing for
Mm-hmm.
years.
Mm-hmm.
Things that no one would understand because I'm an only child. How is that
Mm-hmm.
possible? But no one understood. It wasn't any physical abuse, but it
Mm-hmm.
was mental and emotional. It
Mm-hmm.
it was that type thing. And when
Mm-hmm.
you go through
right,
that type thing, like you said, you wonder how bad does it get before it gets bad? How
yeah,
how far would I have to go before I snapped? You
Mm-hmm.
know, Or how
Yeah.
far would you have had to go before you snapped? You
Mm-hmm.
know, or the relationship between you and your brother. How well would that relationship have been if it had not been the way it was?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You
Right.
know, so I welcome the fact that you're opened up. You
Mm-hmm.
know, yourself to be
Yeah.
exposed to tell of a story that many may have. Many may, look at and say, you know what, if I got to fix my pain,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm not going to wait to
Mm-hmm.
fix it. Maybe
Mhm.
now I need to just write it. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
now I need to
Yeah.
be putting it down on paper. Maybe now I need to be talking about it. Maybe now I need to be expressing it, because the thing about it is it weighs on you.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Well,
like you said, you were adult before you even released it.
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Well, in writing the book, it was a lot that I wanted to kind of balance it. And there was so much grief that I couldn't balance. I didn't write it all, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And like I've seen my aunt or witnessed my aunt run guys off that would be over to see my mom.
Yeah.
She would
Mhm.
run them off, just
Right.
break in, run them off with a gun,
Wow.
you know,
Mm.
and you know maybe wake up hearing this fussing and she telling the guy he got to get up, he got to go. Well,
Mhm.
whatever he was after, he
Yeah.
didn't got that. So
Yeah.
what?
Right, right, right.
Might as well let him stay.
Yeah.
Right, 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 right.
um, there's just so much, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, evil she did. I witnessed her beat my mom up
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
and
Mhm.
threatened, to beat me and my brother if we jump in.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like she would just
Yeah. Yeah.
ride
You
them
said
over
that,
the
and you
back,
said that
you
as
know.
well on the back of the book, where you said, nobody really wanted to go to the funeral. Nobody cared
Mm,
about, the burial, you know.
Mm-hmm.
right,
Um and when a person is like that, there's other things. And she may have had some disorders herself.
Yeah.
She may have been imbalanced
you're right.
herself,
Yeah.
You're
and had some issues and some problems. But
Yeah.
now that you've written the book,
Mm-hmm.
now that you've put it out there, like you said, you haven't put it all out there, but you put it out
Mm-hmm.
there to the point where it,
right.
it alleviated some of that emotional pressure or that mental
Mhm,
pressure, or to give you a little bit of wellness, to give
Mm-hmm.
you a
right,
little bit of coverage for your pain.
right.
How much better do you feel?
I feel good. I feel
Mm-hmm.
good. I balance my true emotion
Mm-hmm.
and find ways to find some humor.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like you may have a little skill there.
Hmm.
Um, um, I've always been poetic, and a lot of people don't know it, but I've hit that. But all
Hmm.
the poetry in this book
Mm-hmm.
is original. I wrote it creative
Nice.
to fit the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I couldn't borrow nobody else's songs and put in the book, so I created some gospel songs.
Very
I create
good.
original
Hmm.
in the book.
Wow.
Um, the sermons are not that hard. You kind of,
Sure.
they're not that hard, but they're original. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Preaching is preaching.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
um,
right.
I did an audio book with my bully, my aunt, in her final gift.
Mm-hmm.
And the part I regret, I hope the guy doesn't. I got the wrong guy
Hmm.
to do it. And I
Um,
regret I didn't get a black guy who understands black preaching.
yeah.
Right, right,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Because
right.
I wanted somebody to lay into
Yeah.
the preaching.
Certain areas,
Yeah.
right, right,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and
Mm-hmm.
I was so busy, pushing 2 books, and I
Mm-hmm.
really didn't go through the whole
right.
audiobook, the whole taping.
Yeah.
And had I
Hmm.
gone through it, I was like, "No, this is not gonna work. I need somebody else."
Mm-hmm.
Right,
You know,
right.
or for this part, bring in somebody else.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And I regret I didn't because
Mm-hmm.
I wanted somebody to
To
lay into
really
it
get into
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well,
try
you know
and
what? You know
brainstorm.
what, Harold? You're gonna do that for the movie. You're gonna be all right.
All right, I appreciate it. I
You're gonna do that for the movie. You're gonna bring in
right.
the right one to lay it down the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, this mental wellness thing and this mental health thing is a big issue. It's a very big issue, and people need to learn how to release it, how to let
Mm-hmm.
it go, how not to hold on to it. So
Yeah.
we appreciate the fact that you have given us, you know, um, your memoirs, your way of doing it, and
Mm-hmm.
people could get in touch with you on Facebook,
Mhm.
Harold Phifer. Get in touch with him on Facebook. You can contact us. We tell you that every week. If there's a guest that we have on that you'd like to get in touch with, please get in touch with us and let us know. We will immediately connect you because we're trying to help not only promote them but make connections that are beneficial to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So if it would benefit you to have a conversation with him about how did he get it started, what made him, maybe how did you keep your mouth closed while you were writing it? It might it might be just that, So you might want to talk to him about that.
Okay.
Hey, look, I'm the blunt one. I'm not one to cover much. If I gotta say it, I'm gonna say it. But the thing is that you might want to reach out and talk to him. So we want you to know
Okay.
that. But Felice has a last question for you.
I do,
Sure.
but again, I can't go into the question without once again thanking you
I
again
appreciate
for
it. Amen.
sharing your gift, and thank you for your service to our country. Even though it doesn't
Yes,
sound like you joined the
yes.
military, but you are serving our country, and I had a couple of questions about that, but that would take us probably into another hour. So we have to
I'm
let
enjoying.
you.
I'm enjoying this well. You know,
Good, good,
you
good.
guys are pulling it out of me.
Well, there you go. We didn't get you quite to unzip that zipper, but we got a.
We got what we wanted. We got what we wanted.
Okay.
We truly do. So again, once again, thank you for all you do, and thank you for sharing not only your story but your gift to the world. Um, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart because I resonate with a lot of what you're saying, and I definitely will be reading your book, both of them, especially the aunt and the bully. So, in all that you do, because we didn't even cover, I don't think we covered this much of all that you do just by reading your bio and things. What do you do to fill your cup?
Fill my cup.
Yes, to fill your cup. You fill up the world's cup with all the other things that you're doing. What do you do to fill your
Fill my cup. Yeah.
cup?
I like, believe it or not, even in the midst of my stories, I
Hmm.
do I like entertaining.
Hmm.
Um, as dramatic as, especially the first two books, Surviving Chaos,
Hmm.
How I Found Peace at the Beach Bar,
Hmm.
and this one, My Bully, My Unfounded Gift,
Yeah.
really wanted to be different. I didn't want it to be so, doldrum or woe is me, which you're gonna get that, I'll admit.
Sure.
But I wanted to shoot you up with humor that you never
Yeah.
experienced.
Uh-huh.
And I think I got that. People said, they laugh, they cry, and they love the book.
Hmm.
As well as telling my story to look back how determined that little boy was.
Hmm.
I know I'm biased, obviously, but God, it made me
Yeah.
so proud of that little
Yeah,
boy that
and
I
it
was.
should.
Uh,
Yes, it
Mhm,
should.
mhm.
It
yeah,
should.
it did.
A lot of people talk about, as you go through childhood trauma, a lot of times you are arrested at that age. And
Hmm.
so therefore you need to go back and rescue yourself at whatever the age that was so that you can fully
Mhm.
come into your own and be authentic in your whole life. So yeah, I'm trying to get back to rescuing that 3-year-old. And
Yeah, right.
it, yeah, so it is some work. So again, I'm and so thank you again for that because again, you were not meant to be the product of that
Right.
trauma. And so thank you for not being the product of that trauma.
I appreciate it. I
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
for, finding the joy, and then also wanting to not only find it for yourself, but give it to the world from this thing that was meant to take you out, meant to just diminish you and discount you and, you know, make you less than what you were designed and destined and appointed and anointed to be. Again, I'm taking a lot of inspiration from you in your life, and, and you sharing your story. So again, as Nanette said before, when you share it, it's meant for others. Yes, it's a healing for you, but it is meant for the world to know and to hear that and to take inspiration. So, there you
Yeah,
So,
go.
with that
I like
being said,
Wait, he had something.
yes, yes, yes. With that being
hopefully
said,
hopefully no one allow themselves to go to through near death before they tell their story.
right,
You know,
right,
don't
right.
let it get that bad.
Mhm.
Put together long before.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I could go on about that, because you get into
Mhm.
your own head and thinking sometimes it's, I'm going to just say this. I've been watching these episodes of My 600-Pound Life.
Mm,
Um, and, the takeaway for me is that when you feel trapped, you are trapped.
right, right.
But
Mhm.
when you look for hope and look for a way out, there you will find it, right? And
Okay.
so a lot of times, the mindset is I'm trapped in this until you have the near death experience. And then it's like, oh, well, guess what? This life was meant for me to live
Mhm.
and not
Mhm.
be trapped in it, right? Yeah.
Well,
Right,
we want to thank you for
right.
being here
It-
and
it-
being a part of
okay.
our crazy world. That's a temporary crazy world, but we hope that in this that
Mhm.
someone finds their way, that someone
Yeah.
finds their way out, and in reading your novels, they find out that they're not the only one that has chaos.
Yeah.
They're
Right,
not the only one that has to survive it. They're not
right,
the only one that has someone on the outside looking in that's destroying what they have on the inside.
Mhm.
right.
So we want them to learn from your experience
Yes.
and be able to develop into the person that they need to be. I want to thank
Okay.
the audience. Thank you so much for being with us. And once again, join us on Mondays at 6:30, where we take it on a whole nother level. We never know which way the discussion is going to go. But we want to say good night and thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
being
Mr.
here.
Arrow.
Thank
Yes,
you
thank
all.
you so
Thank you
much.
all. All right.
Good night, everyone. Thanks